What's going on YouTube? It's your boy Snowflarky Zemos, and I'm coming at you today with another Master Duel video. Now today I'm doing something a little different. I'm not here to talk about a deck. I'm here to talk about just discussing a single card that is a card that has been pretty cool for me in Master Duel. So let's say you're a trap card player like me, and you play lots of trap cards. You know, you want to go first, you want to set lots of back row, you want to disrupt, and then you get hit with Lightning Storm, Harpy Feather Duster, the bane of the back row player's existence. Well, if that sounds like a problem you're dealing with, then I might interest you into looking into this card, Waking the Dragon. Waking the Dragon is an incredibly cool trap card that I think gets even a greater benefit in Master Duel's best of one format, and especially with people main decking back row hate now that they have to deal with Eldritch and whatnot in this format. That Waking the Dragon gets a lot more power here than it does in the TCG, and the effects of Waking the Dragon are so good that it oftentimes, if you play it right, can be a game-winning condition. So what is Waking the Dragon? Waking the Dragon just is a trap card that says if this set card in its owner's control has left the field because of an opponent's card effect and is now in the graveyard or banished, special summon one monster from your deck or extra deck. So if you got back row, your opponent removes it in any way, it's in the graveyard, even if it's banished, you're going to get a free special summon. And the big thing here is that it is a special summon from the extra deck. Now in these kind of decks, trap card decks, you may not be playing as many extra deck monsters. You're certainly usually not able to access as many, so you can use those extra deck slots to put in some powerful monsters that are really powerful to summon off of Waking the Dragon. And so that essentially turns an opponent's Harpy's Feather Duster or Lightning Storm that would normally blow up all your back row and knock you out of the game. With Waking the Dragon, it can turn it into a game-winning condition for you, which is pretty sweet. Now, the big thing to note about Waking the Dragon is it is an ultra rare. So that is, ultra rares resources are the hardest to come across. So that can be quite costly, and a lot of the best cards to summon off Waking the Dragon are ultra rares, high rarity, big boss monsters. So that is something to keep in mind. All right, now that I've talked a little bit about what Waking the Dragon is as a card, let's talk about some of the best monsters you can be summoning off of Waking the Dragon. So usually you want to use Waking the Dragon to summon a really powerful extra deck monster so that you don't have to clog your main deck with bricks, and there are certainly really powerful extra deck monsters to summon. So I'm going to kind of go through the 5 big ones that you would play, because usually in a trap card deck you're going to play something like Extravagance. You're not going into your extra deck, so I usually just max out these cards at 3 copies each in an ideal situation. So let's talk about them. First, we got Raid Raptor Ultimate Falcon. 3,500 attack, unaffected by card effects. Really cool. 3,500 attack is huge, and being unaffected by card effects makes this card very hard to deal with. They either got to get a monster that they can beat it by battle, which, isn't so hard with Access Code Talker and things like that. It's possible, but, a lot of times, especially against certain matchups, they just can't deal with this without a kaiju, and if they don't have it, Ultimate Falcon will kind of close out the game. So definitely a very powerful card to consider. Next up, I would say the next best card we can summon is Last Warrior from Another Planet. Last Warrior from Another Planet is incredibly good. It's just a 2,300 attack monster that says neither player can summon monsters. This card tends to be what you want to summon off of Waking the Dragon if they destroy your back row while they don't have any monsters on board. And then if they don't have any monsters on board and you summon Last Warrior, if they don't have the impermanence or something to negate it right there, well, they're not going to be summoning any cards. They're going to be passing the turn, and you can use Last Warrior from Another Planet to slowly beat down and chip away at them, frustrate your opponent. If they don't have the outs, it's Master Duel. A lot of times they'll just scoop. But if you can summon Last Warrior on an open board, you can do a lot of damage. Next up, I want to talk about Naturia Exterio. This one is a pretty powerful card because it has a non-once per turn effect that can negate a spell or trap card. and it's a quick effect. So, and all you have to do is banish a card from your graveyard and then send the top card of your deck to the graveyard. So as long as you have a card in your graveyard to start, you're going to always have materials, usually to or resources, I should say, to keep negating effects. And in certain matchups, like if you're up against a ritual deck or something that really needs its spell and trap cards to get it going, you can just constantly say no to them and can shut out those matchups right there. So definitely a card to consider. Ritual decks are pretty big that it can shut down. It could be pretty good against Sky Striker. Definitely a good card to consider, and getting that it and Last Warrior are a super, that makes it a lot more accessible. Next up, I'm going to talk about Blackwing Full Armor Master. This is a 3,000 attack, ultra rare Blackwing monster that's unaffected by other card effects. So it's like Ultimate Falcon, except just with 500 less attack, which makes it, a little weaker. 3,000 attack is a lot easier to get to and at least crash into it than 3,500. So keep that in mind. But Full Armor Master got some other effects that are pretty nice. Such as each time an opponent's monster activates his effect, you place a wedge counter on that monster, and then after that effect resolves, once per turn, you can target a monster your opponent controls with a wedge counter and take control of it. Pretty sweet. Just snatch a monster, awesome, and then once per turn during your end phase, you can destroy all monsters on the field that have wedge counters. So it has some additional effects that you can actually use, unlike Raid Raptor Ultimate Falcon, which is just there for the body, unaffected by card effects, and that makes Full Armor Master pretty sick. You'll definitely get this card if any of you are Blackwing fans, because it's in the Blackwing set, so pretty cool to keep in mind. And of course, last for the big five, I want to talk about Geomathmech Final Sigma. It's unaffected by card effects except Mathmech cards while in the extra monster zone. Usually you'll have that zone free in these kind of decks, so you can summon it in the extra monster zone, and then you have a 3,000 attack monster that's unaffected by card effects. This one also has one benefit that is kind of nice. When it battles an opponent's monster and does battle damage by that battle, the damage is doubled, which is sweet. And, if you were playing a Mathmech deck too, you got synergy with that. But, usually the combo decks aren't as trap card heavy and don't need Waking the Dragon as much. But those are the big five. Now in the TCG, we got Blue Eyes Alternative Ultimate Dragon, which is really nice. But as you see, Blue Eyes Alternative Dragon is not in Master. Blue Eyes Alternative Ultimate Dragon is not in Master Duel. It's only the regular one. So because of that, we don't have access to it at this current time. So those five are the big monsters that I would look into getting if you are interested in playing a Waking the Dragon package. Last kind of bits about Waking the Dragon here. I find Waking the Dragon to be strongest when you are playing it in a deck that has, trap cards that have to activate instead of floodgates, because if you're playing floodgates and they have targeted spell or trap removal, they'll just hit the floodgates that it's annoying them. But cards like Storming Mirror Force and in this Worm example, W Nebula Meteorite, Torrential Tribute, things that you can activate when a condition is met, that's the kind of stuff that when your opponent sees it, they're going to want to try to blind hit it and blind take it out so that they can remove it before they commit to their plays, and that leaves them open to maybe just blind striking a Waking the Dragon and giving you a huge benefit off that. Another great card to play with Waking the Dragon is Trap Trick, because you can use Trap Trick to put a Waking the Dragon on your field, and that's pretty good if you have a Trap Trick set. If you don't have Waking the Dragon but have Trap Trick set and a spot open when your opponent plays Harpy's Feather Duster or Lightning Storm, something that's clearing out all your back row, you can actually Trap Trick into a Waking the Dragon, get that set, and then Waking the Dragon will get destroyed with the rest of the back row and be able to activate, which is awesome. You can definitely do that and, turn a Harpy's Feather Duster into a lot less of a punishing play against you. So just some things to keep in mind with that. If you're playing Floodgates, they may just target the Floodgate, but if you're playing a heavy trap card based deck, which, there's some people out there like me who like trap card based decks, Waking the Dragon is a great way to turn a losing back row wipe into a more, just into a better situation. So I've queued up a replay here to show Waking the Dragon in action. I'm playing it in my Reversal Quiz deck, one of my favorite decks to play in the as I level up the lower rankings here. And we got it in our opening hand. There's a lot of trap cards that can be chained in this deck, so Waking the Dragon isn't necessarily needed because you can activate them all preemptively. But by having Waking the Dragon and baiting out back row removal, it does give this deck an alternate win condition other than the Reversal Quiz. So jumping into the game, we got Waking the Dragon in the opening hand, which is good. This is a very poor hand. I want to see more draw cards before I see the Reversal Quiz combo. So I'm going to set Wabuko, and I'm going to set Waking the Dragon, and pass my turn. My opponent then reveals that their face down was Lightning Storm, so I'm going to chain Wabuko just to not take any damage. They have a set monster, so this is basically an open board state. So when they destroy Waking the Dragon, I am going to summon Last Warrior from another planet. Now, they cannot summon any monsters. All they can do is set like they're doing. And since this is a Reversal Quiz deck and I don't need to activate monsters and I have an alternate win condition that involves not even attacking, I don't even have to worry about attacking into a trap card like they've set. So I'm just going to literally sit on Last Warrior. My opponent is not going to be able to do anything until I draw and get the combo off. Now, of course, they can out Last Warrior, but, oftentimes there's limited outs. So there we go. They can't do anything. I'm using my draw power, getting my cards, getting my combo. At this point, all I got to do is just have some way to self-burn myself for a little bit. And they use Solemn Judgment, which is a pretty nice play because it means my future hope for escapes aren't going to be as effective. I get another Waking the Dragon, just in case, but at this point, they're frustrated. They just pack up and move on to the next duel. And that's the kind of thing that happens when they don't have an out for the monsters you can summon off of Waking the Dragon. So here's another replay of Waking the Dragon in action. I am playing my Skill Drain Beatdown Stun deck, and up against the opponent here in gold. I start off with my Pot of Extravagance. Pot of Extravagance gets me into 2 Extravagance, so this hand's not looking so good. I got There Can Only Be One, which is a really powerful and maybe a win con, but I have Trap Trick, which is going to be important here. So my opponent starts off their turn, they draw their card, they play Pot of Prosperity, they're going 6 cards deep, and as they flip their cards, we are going to see here that that is a Lightning Storm. Well, look at that. Aren't they tempted to take Lightning Storm? They do. Now, see what's big. A big thing that makes Waking the Dragon successful in Master Duel is that one of the bundles gives you Lightning Storm, and it's a very good bundle, so most players have bought it, and so most players will at least have 1 copy of Lightning Storm. And Lightning Storm simply just says if they don't have any face-up cards, they can either destroy all attack position monsters your opponent controls or destroy all spell and trap cards your opponent controls, which is pretty big if you're playing a trap card deck. So they're going to activate Lightning Storm here. They're going to destroy all spells and traps, but I'm going to use this as a chance to activate Trap Trick, like I mentioned earlier. Since I know my back row is getting wiped, I'm going to banish a Waking the Dragon and set my other Waking the Dragon, so that Waking the Dragon is the card that will get destroyed. Waking the Dragon is destroyed. They don't have any monsters, so I'm going to choose to go into Last Warrior from another planet. It forces them to set and pass. And from that, we'll just play the game. Use Extravagance. Now in this deck, I'm playing some Phantom Knight's Sword, which is nice because I can use that to protect my Last Warrior from getting destroyed. And Solemn Judgment will also take care of a number of cards that may out my cards. So they're going to try to Twin Twisters. I just feel like I might as well Solemn Judgment this so that I can keep my Phantom Knight's Sword and use that to boost the attack on Last Warrior and keep it alive. I'm going to set a card just in case they do clear Last Warrior. And they're going to keep setting. I'm just going to keep beating down. Eventually they run out of targets. I'm going to just use Trap Trick to get another card out of my deck. Beat in with the Last Warrior. It's got a high attack. They're going to Pot of Prosperity, looking for some cards. Monster Reborn would be a nice card, but they can't summon. Now Raigeki That definitely looks like what they may want. But they actually play the Dragon Maid card, trying to use the Dragon Maid's effect. But Dragon Maid will only negates only activated effects, so the continuous effect of Last Warrior is not negated. And boom, Waking the Dragon wins me the game. So that's it for just kind of discussing the viability of Waking the Dragon in Master Duel. Definitely a card that has been pretty cool for me to play in trap card decks. Now, like I mentioned at the start, Waking the Dragon and getting the extra deck monsters for Waking the Dragon is pretty expensive as far as resources, SR and UR. So I would say only really look into it if you're going to get mileage out of it, playing multiple trap card decks. That's something I do because I love those kind of decks. So it works for me. So, but you know, if you've been playing slower decks that have more trap cards, have back row, things like that, and you're tired of just auto losing to Harpy's Feather Duster or Lightning Storm blowing up your back row, this is certainly a card to consider. So let me know what you think. Have you had any successful plays with Waking the Dragon? Have you been beaten by any Waking the Dragons that you didn't suspect? And just let me know what you think about the card, if you like it, and what other cool things you may be doing in Master Duel to try to combat back row hate. Let me know, and I'll see you in the next one.